Hi, it's Penny here, and in this video we're going to be putting together my TBR for the month of January, so the first month of 2025. What am I going to read? As usual, I will be using my TBR machine website that I made that spits out random reading prompts to pick the books on my TBR, and as well I'll be doing my realistic TBR strategy where I basically pick one physical book and one audiobook for each week of the month. So that means this month we have 8 slots to fill. Now technically there is a week at the beginning of January, but we're just going to pretend that doesn't exist because I will probably need it for catching up on 2024 things. And also, like, it's the beginning of the year, there'll be other things going on other than reading. As well, I do actually already have a lot of books, like series that I want to continue, books that I already have in progress that I'm hoping to fill a lot of these slots with, but I'm just going to see whether I can get those to match up with the TBR machine prompts. So let's see what the first prompt is. It is going to be read a book borrowed from the library. So there are a couple of books that I have on hold from the library, but actually there's one audiobook that I already have out from the library. So let's put that one on the list. That is Fate's Edge by Alona Andrews. So this is the third book in the Edge novels by Alona Andrews. They're kind of like paranormal romance books, but I really love the way that Alona Andrews writes books. I love the way they build characters and like cool magical worlds. So the Edge novels are about a world where there are 3 worlds. The Broken, which is our world, doesn't have magic. The Weird, which has very strong magic. And then between the two, we have the Edge that only certain people are able to kind of travel into. And in the Edge, you have some degree of magic, but not like the full magic of the Weird. So in this quartet, each book actually follows a different set of characters, although they're somewhat interconnected. I don't actually know who the third book is going to be following, although maybe I should look that up to set my expectations, because I was actually planning to binge this whole series in December, but once I read the first 2 I realized that was just a bit too much for me. I kind of prefer to read series by reading like one book a month so that they don't get like too much the same and I can kind of spread out my enjoyment of them. So book number 3, Fate's Edge, we'll put that into the first audiobook slot. Then the second prompt will be read a book inspired by mythology. So this is another one that's related to my December TBR. In December, I attempted to pick up Malice by John Gwynne, mostly because I wanted to get to it as part of Becca and the Books' book club thing, because she's doing a reader along of that whole series, and I wanted to be a part of it. It's a series I know a lot of people really love, inspired by Norse mythology, and we're kind of following a bunch of characters involved in this war between the gods. It sounds kind of epic and exciting. I've read about the first half of Malice already, maybe 40%. And to be honest, I've been incredibly bored with it. It has not been to my taste, but it's a series that people say gets really epic. So I'm expecting the end of the book to be better, or at least the rest of the series to be better. The main thing is though, even though I put Malice down because I wanted to pick up Wind and Truth, I do want to come back to Malice. So we're going to put it on the TBR in the second slot because I'm hoping to get something in to that first slot for physical books. I've already given you a clue what it is. Okay, the third prompt will be read your most recent book purchase. Okay, that first slot for physical books, what I want to put in there is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. So I have already started it. I am hoping to finish it by the end of 2024. However, at this point when I'm filming this, probably not. Also, I probably think I'm still being optimistic to think I'll only need 1 week of January to finish it, but I'm just gonna continue that optimism anyway, even though it's probably delusional. So if you haven't heard of Wind and Truth, I don't know what to say about that. It's the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive, which is Brandon Sanderson's big epic fantasy. Much hyped. A lot of people are reading it at the moment, and I'm excited to read it too. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, I'll already be quite near the end, but also maybe that's completely delusional because this is like a 1,200 page book, I think. Far too long. And actually, as I'm filming this, I don't physically have it. However, I just got an email saying that it's going to arrive like tomorrow or the next day, so we're going to count it as my most recent purchase, even though technically I pre-ordered it a while ago. but I haven't been buying many books, so it might still be my most recent purchase. Okay, so then the next prompt will be listen to an audiobook. I like a flexible prompt. Actually, what I really do these prompts for is because I like having my options narrowed, but when I already kind of have some plans, flexible is good. But it's so flexible, I almost want to just like keep this prompt in case I need it. Okay, let's bottle this prompt up. We'll just put it to the side. We'll come back to it. Okay, then the next prompt will be read a book with pink on the cover. I'm looking closely to see if I can hack this. Like the tiniest bit of pink is all we need. I feel like certainly if I put an eyedropper somewhere on this cover, there would be pink, but maybe that's stretching it. What else? I do have the Grace of Kings, like physically on my shelf, and there is that really pretty pink edition, not the one that I have, but that could fit. But that's way too long. I don't think we want to pick that up yet until I've got some other big series out of the way. I really need something I can pick up via audiobook, actually. I have an idea, but can my library support me in my dreams? I think it can. Okay, so what we're going to go with is The Birds by Daphne du Maurier. So I've really liked some things by Daphne du Maurier before. My cousin Rachel and Rebecca. And I personally have a bit of a fear of birds. I've seen the movie. Terrifying. Kind of traumatizing. Do I want to read the book? I think I want to read the book. And the cover that I actually copied onto my TBR list, like I have a Miro board where I try to keep track of everything I would like to read. And the cover that I copied has a lot of pink on it. Like I think it's meant to be more of a faded red, but it's pink, okay? It's also quite short, so that's a nice comparison to some other things that I have on my TBR. So let's put The Birds into my second audiobook slot. Then the next prompt will be read a book written by an author who is older than you. What was I thinking writing this prompt? Am I actually going to go and research how many of these authors are older than me? I'm not. I just recently was looking at Emma Carey online and it said he was 60 something. I'm only 44, so young. He's definitely older than me, so he counts. And I have just picked up the audiobook of The Book of Coley by him, which I am loving so far. So I'm expecting I will want to continue the series as soon as possible. And the next book is The Trials of Coley. So we'll put that in the third audiobook slot. This is a series where basically the trees have decided they've had enough of humans and started attacking them. So now humans kind of live in these isolated villages, and anytime they want wood, they have to make sure that it's dead before they use it. Otherwise, your house might just wake up and try to eat you. As well, there's kind of like this old technology that only certain people are able to use, and those people kind of have a lot of political power, or as much as you can, in these small villages. And we're following kind of this young boy. So it's actually told from him as an older man, and it's clear that he's done some very significant things to the world, and he's basically telling his story. But you kind of get the idea that it's not going to be the big heroic story that maybe other people might expect. It really is a very strange, like post-apocalyptic dystopian story with like this weird tech element. But as I said, loving it so far, so excited to continue that. So we'll put that in the third audiobook slot. Did I already say that? Anyway, we'll put it there. So then the next prompt will be read a book that has won an award. And I can already see on my little plan just behind you that the book cover I have on my Miro board has a little sticker on it, so it must have won an award, right? Let's zoom in. Has it won an award? So the book that I'm looking at is Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie, which is the third book in the Imperial Raj series. I think it was originally a trilogy, and there's kind of some other spin-off books. So the fake sticker says author of Ancillary Justice, the first book, Hugo and Nebula Award winner. I do have the third book physically. Did this particular one also win an award? Am I just going to count it regardless of whether it did or not? I suppose I'll do the research so I at least know whether I'm cheating or not. Okay, Ancillary Mercy won the 2016 Locus Award for Best Science Fiction Novel. So, this series is about this person who used to be a spaceship. So basically in this world there are these spaceships. The one we're following is the Justice of Torrin, and they kind of are an AI spaceship, but they also exist in the bodies of multiple people. So the first book kind of follows this political intrigue that's happening. The Justice of Torrin is part of this bigger empire that is colonizing the universe, and they kind of encounter some particular problems when they try to colonize this one planet. So we're getting that as one timeline, and then also a future timeline where we now just have one part of the Justice of Torrin in a single body, and they're trying to get revenge for what happened 2,000 years ago. The first book was really epic and intense. The second book was kind of cozy and intense, if that's possible. I really love the way that this book is written, the way that it looks at different kind of perspectives, and also I guess the approach to colonization and justice and class and privilege, and so many great themes. I cannot wait to continue this series, so I had to fit this into the TBR somehow. So that's the first 3 weeks of the TBR filled. Let's try and fill the last 2 weeks. And we already have that one prompt in our pocket, so really I need a prompt that fits the last book that I want to put on this TBR. Read a book with LGBTQIA plus representation. So I'm going to read Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. The first book, Gideon the Ninth, is regularly described as lesbian necromancers in space, so it fits the prompt. So in that first book, we have Gideon the Ninth, who lives in the ninth house, which is basically this planet, but she's always wanted to escape. She makes a deal with the head of the house that she will be a part of this competition, and then through doing that, she will gain her freedom. This competition is very strange. You never really know what's going on, but it does involve a lot of these necromancers geeking out over necromancy lore and technology, or like necromantic science. I don't know the right terms, but anyway, it was such a weird book, and I really think the second book is set up to be even weirder, and I'm super hyped for it. So really, this TBR is looking pretty strong so far. If we go back though to our prompt in our pocket, we have listened to an audiobook. So the last audiobook I want to pick up in January is Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. So this is part of the Ryria series that I wanted to pick up for a few reasons. I did try the first chapter and I thought it was intriguing, but I did want to pick it up at the moment because Joshana is doing a read along for that. I think though Joshana's doing it in chronological order. I had initially planned to do this in publication order, so Theft of Swords I think is the first one in publication order, and The Hold came through at my library, and I don't think I can get the other book that would be the first in chronological order. I don't think I can get that from my library very quickly. So I'm just going to start with Theft of Swords, and then from there I'll decide whether I change to chronological order or if I just keep going in publication order. I don't know. I'll work it out, but we're going to start with Theft of Swords, where I believe primarily we're following these two mercenaries, Royce and Hadrian, as they go around and have some kind of adventures. Honestly, I'm going in pretty blind with this series, but as I said, I tried the first chapter. I liked the kind of the humor of it, and it seemed like an interesting world, like a kind of a more of a classic fantasy feel to things. I guess we'll see once I get to it. So this will be my TBR for the month of January. It's quite possible that Wind and Truth is going to just destroy the whole thing when it takes me longer to read than I would hope. Also possibly Malice, if the second half doesn't improve, could also destroy all my plans. But I'm super excited for the other physical books on my list, so hopefully I'll be able to catch up with those. And the audiobooks all look pretty good, so I think it's a pretty achievable TBR, as well as a pretty exciting one. So let me know if you've read any of these books, whether you think I'm going to like them. And of course, check back in at the end of the month for my wrap up, where I will share my thoughts on them, and I'll be vlogging along the way as well. Do subscribe if you'd like to see more of my bookish videos. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.